Right, hello guys, welcome back to my channel, BFG Woodworking. So what I'm going to do over the next course of a couple of days is try and make a clock. I've got a nice bit of scrap sapele right here, some oak, which is going to be used for the inlay. I'm going to utilise the Milescraft design and inlay kit. And I've got an old clock mechanism that I used for a project quite a while ago. So what we're going to try and do is panel this up, cut a circle, panel this up, cut the inlay, glue it all in, flatten it down, install the clock mechanism and see how we get on. But we've got the fun job first, getting these all flat, square and panelled together. So we'll crack on with that straight away. This rockler tapering jig is ideal for getting straight edges if you don't have a jointer. Another great way to get flat stock if you don't have a jointer, use a flat surface, wedges, super glue, make sure it's stable on that flat surface, glue it very rigidly in place, run it through your planer. I forgot to hit record when resawing this block on the table saw, so I'll put a link in the description where you can see this technique being done. Alright, it's time to start using the inlay kit. So what I like to do first is just mark out my pattern on my workpiece, just to ensure that I've got my correct pattern that I need, my spacing is correct, and I'm using the jig properly. So make sure you firmly clamp that to your bench so it doesn't wobble about while you're doing this. Alright, it's time to start cutting your inlay out. Now, depending on your thickness that you need to do, you can do this in one shot or multiple passes. But the most important thing is to ensure that your workpiece is secure and that you're using that bushing properly. It's riding up against the rail of that stencil without any deviation. Just keep it secure, keep it slow, take your time, and these will come out perfect. Cutting the slots for your inserts is pretty much rinse and repeat of cutting the inlay out. Only difference is you hog out all the material. Just ensure that you've changed to the right bushing on your router to make sure the piece is fitting properly. But once again, just take your time, make sure you do this right. Alright, so I'm just super gluing everything in place now, just ensuring that everything is tight into the edges, my spacing between the pieces are correct. I'm using a torch to help me out with that, just to make sure I've got them right. Alright, so it's epoxy time. So I'm using a two-part system here, resin hardener, 50-50 mix with this one. Got a bit of black pigment. You can use whatever colour you want at this point. It's got my little pot and my little stirrer. Alright, it's finally important you make sure you mix your epoxy well. I usually put a timer on for 3 minutes on my phone and just keep stirring until it goes off. Now pour it as evenly and as cleanly as you can into them gaps. Doesn't matter if you get it on the top of these pieces, because ultimately we're going to get rid of them. It's just ensuring that you get them right into them edges, right into them cracks. Alright, when you're happy that it's all set and you're ready to go, time to flatten it down. Now the quickest and easiest way I find is to use a router. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just using that saw blade to set the bottom of my cut, so it just sits proud of my surface so I don't mar it when routering it down. So all I know once I'm done doing this, I've just got the thickness of that blade to sand, make your life a lot easier. Nice little trick. So depending on the thickness of your clock face, you may or may not have to do this bit, but my stock was too thick for that to fit through properly. So I'm just having to route out a bit of a recess in the back to make sure that it will all fit through and the hands can fit on and it seats correctly. So I'm just using a couple of little scrap blocks with a bushing on my router just to get the perfect little cutout for it. So what I'm doing here is just prepping for cutting out the circle for my clock face. So I'm using the super glue and blue tape trick just to stick this down to a bit of a spoil board, just in case I do a through cut. Normally I don't, I just do part way through and then flush cut the rest. But to do this cut, we're going to be using the Milescraft circle cutting jig. Any circle cutting jig you have, it'll be good, but I like this one. I've used it before, it's given me great results. So first step is just to ensure it's secured properly to the center, no wobble in it whatsoever, and then fix everything out, set your distance, and then take your time, multiple passes, cutting through your stock. I do little and often rather than taking big chunks. It avoids the problem of potentially it racking or jumping on you, and I just find it gives you cleaner cuts with no burning. What I'm also going to use this jig for is just setting from the edges. I'm going to do a little V groove detail, just add a little bit of something extra to the clock face. Thought I'd give it a go, see how it turns out. Now I'm just jigsawing out the rest of the circle and then flush cutting all the way down till it's nice and smooth. As always, I love a round over, so I'm going to round over the front and back as well. Alright, so now I'm just drilling out the centre to fit the spindle for my clock mechanism, using the drill guide here to make sure it's perfectly straight. And then it's everyone's favourite job, sanding. I did find this little sanding block from Milescraft. There's like interchangeable faces, so one's like curved, one's pointy, there's a flat bit, but it just helps get into these little details and help with your roundovers to stop you flattening them out and stuff. It came in really handy for this job. Alright, that's it. All done. Lovely scrap wood inlaid clock. I'd like to thank you all for taking time to watch my video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Other than that, if you did get anything out of this, please like and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you again on the next one.